Hello guys, welcome to our channel, Murder and Crime. We talk about murderers and psychos, and today we'll talk about Ted Bundy, who is a very famous serial killer. There are many documentaries, series, TV shows, movies, and books about him, so let's just start from the beginning. Theodore Bundy was his full name. He was born on November 24th, 1946 in Burlington, Vermont, USA. His mother's name was Eleanor Louise Cowell. There isn't much information available about his father. It was always his mother who raised him. Ted's mother, Louise, had very religious parents, and having a baby at 22 without a husband was like a crime to them, especially at that time. So Ted was mostly raised by his grandparents. His grandparents adopted him, and as he grew up, he believed his mother was his sister. Later, when he was older, he found out that the person he thought was his sister was actually his mother.
In 1951, Ted's mother, Louise Bundy, married a man named Johnny Bundy. That's how Ted got his full name, Theodore Robert Bundy. But behind the name, the family wasn't as happy as it seemed. Ted's stepfather wasn't well educated. He came from a working-class background, a mismatch to young Ted's personality and potential. Still, Louise appeared content in her new marriage. As Ted grew older, his mind began wandering into dark places. Thoughts of death and murder started forming, disturbing fantasies for such a young boy. By the time he was just 3 years old, Ted had developed a strange obsession, not with cartoons or toys like other kids, but with knives. Sharp, shiny, dangerous knives. He didn't just like looking at them. He enjoyed collecting them, playing with them. Despite his odd fascinations, Ted was intelligent, an excellent student. But socially, he was awkward, isolated. He had no real friends. As a teenager, his behavior took a darker turn. He began sneaking out at night, peeking through windows of nearby houses, watching strangers, sometimes while they were undressing. He also started stealing, petty theft at first, but it was clear Ted wasn't just a troubled kid. Something far more dangerous was growing inside him.
After some time, Ted got enrolled in a university in Washington. There, he fell in love with a young woman. He was deeply attracted to her, and luckily, they started dating. But things didn't end well. She eventually broke up with him. In 1969, Ted entered another serious relationship, this time with a woman named Elizabeth. They met at a bar in Seattle. Their relationship lasted for about 6 years, and eventually, they even got married. Ted also completed his degree in psychology in 1972. By 1974, something terrifying started happening. Women were going missing at an alarming rate. Ted would not just kill his victims. After dumping their bodies, he would often return to the sites later to perform disturbing sexual acts with the corpses. Even more horrifying, he kept the severed heads of many victims in his home, as if they were trophies. Ted Bundy confessed to murdering 36 people across several states during the 1970s. But experts believe the real number might be in the hundreds. Due to the sheer volume and brutality of his crimes, we won't dive into each murder. It would take days to cover them all. But let's talk about how the law finally caught up with him. In 1975, Elizabeth, Ted's longtime girlfriend, went to the police with her suspicions. That brave step helped the police to begin looking closely at Ted. After this, Elizabeth cut all ties with him. Then, on August 16, 1975, Bundy was pulled over by the Utah Highway Patrol near Salt Lake City for failing to stop during a routine traffic check. When the officer approached his car and asked him to step out, something seemed off. The passenger seat was missing. This odd detail led to a thorough search of the vehicle. What they found was chilling: a murder kit. Inside his car were items like a ski mask, handcuffs, rope, ice pick, crowbar, trash bags, a trash can, and other suspicious tools, the kind that could easily be used for abduction and murder. That was enough. Ted Bundy was arrested.
After his initial arrest, police searched Ted's apartment, but unfortunately, they didn't find any solid evidence. So he was let go. But things took a turn when detectives spoke to Ted's ex-girlfriend, Elizabeth. She told them she had seen very suspicious things in his apartment. Elizabeth also mentioned that whenever she talked about cutting her hair, Ted would get extremely angry. She had long brown hair, just like many of his victims. Ted had sold his Volkswagen Beetle to a young man. The police believed the car could hold vital clues. Luckily, they tracked down the new owner, who willingly handed it over for forensic testing. And inside, they found hair samples from 3 different women. One of them was still alive. She had escaped Ted's kidnapping attempt. She pressed charges, and when she came for testing, she immediately recognized Ted. Still, Ted got bail. Yes, again. Just another example of how easily some criminals walk free. February 1976. Ted was back in court for the case involving the woman who survived. He was found guilty and sentenced to 15 years in prison on June 30th, 1976. But, surprise, he escaped by October. He was quickly caught again but faced another murder charge. Ted decided to represent himself in court, and because of that, the handcuffs were removed. He requested to visit the law library to study his case and was left alone. Seriously? A dangerous criminal left unattended. Incredibly, Ted jumped out of the library window and escaped. He was captured again, but guess what? He escaped again in December. This man was like a real-life horror movie villain. January 15, 1978. Ted broke into a Florida State University sorority house around 2:45 a.m. He attacked a 21-year-old woman while she slept. After killing her, he moved to another room where a 20-year-old woman lay asleep. He beat her unconscious, then strangled her, even mutilating her. It was beyond horrifying. And that's not all. He attacked 2 more women, all in just 15 minutes. Then, on February 9th, he murdered a 12-year-old girl. That was his last kill. On February 15, 1978, police finally arrested him. While in prison, Ted reconnected with a woman named Carol Ann Boone. They had dated before his arrest. During his trial, he proposed to her in court, in front of the judge. Carol said yes. She even gave birth to a daughter, with Ted listed as the father. But after some time, Carol finally realized the truth. Ted really had done all those horrible things. June 1979. Ted stood trial for the horrific murders and assaults. He was 42, and when the day came, people literally celebrated his death. And that's how the terrifying story of Ted Bundy comes to an end. If you want to hear more true crime stories like this one, let us know in the comments below. Stay safe, stay aware, and we'll see you in the next video.